Alrighty. So today, what we're doing now, we're posting our corn. Keep the weeds out, kill the weeds. Spraying Roundup and Lotus, which we really like. On our farm, we have what you call burr cucumber. We call them pickles. We can remember actually disking under hundreds of acres where these burr cucumbers have taken over. And this Lotus seems to be, on our farm, about the safest product on the corn, plus the best residual. So that's kind of why we really like using Lotus. I know a lot of guys use Status and other chemicals, but Lotus works really good for us. Okay, let's see. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a thing of some sugar. Well, about every pass we make, we run sugar because of one, plant needs energy, we know that. Helps on test weight, helps on heat stress, helps on bugs. It just kind of has always been a ritual for I don't know how many years. We just have always felt that is a big key of our grain fill. And heat stress, the sugar does. So we just religiously have always, about any time we go across the corn, either through the wide drops or spraying over the top herbicides or foliar feeding, there's always some sugar that goes in. And number two, it feeds the microbes. Soil health is key, and we believe that's a big part of it. Everything likes sugar. Kids, me, Mountain Dew. So what's the difference? We've been running sugar for 8 to 10 years maybe, and probably don't give it enough credit for what it does. Now we don't run molasses like Randy, and I don't know if David does, but I know Randy talks about molasses, but we kind of like staying with what we got because of time is money, and I don't want to sit there with a 1,400 gallon tank, have tips plugged up or turn to snot. What the hell's going on here? Freaking leak here. What the hell? You son of a bitch. Never had that leak. Anything for TV, you know. Should be good to go. So we're calibrating how many gallons we got to put in there. So we're mixing up a 80-acre load here. We spray 15 gallon an acre. 15 gallon total product, water and herbicides. So to the public, you know, to think us farmers throw a bunch of stuff out there and harm the habitat, environment. You know, this stuff here, we only run 3 ounces an acre. You know, that ain't very much product. Now comes our sugar. And no, this is not carbose. I like to drink my Mountain Dew. To me, that seems like waste of a good product there. That's just too damn good to be wasted on a corn crop. All right, that's pretty well it for the mixing. Now we just gotta watch it get up to 1,200 gallon. So Randy, this is the way real farmers do it. We actually do the work. We don't have other people do it for us. We're gonna go down and spray our hybrid, which is like 21, 22 acres, I believe. And then once we get down there, we'll just kind of work our way back up. Then we'll spray down here by the mill down here. So it'll be a lot of moving. I mean, I hate to borrow a line from Randy, but it's all about being a student of the crop. And he's right. You learn something every year. We had some issues we've never had before, like the cutworm and the burr cucumbers. It's a vine, and they crawl up on the corn stalks and get up on top of the corn and just ride it down to the ground. That is our biggest nemesis. Burr cucumbers would have this corn laying flat on the ground because they got little seeds or little stickers, and they will tear you up, get in your hand. They are horrible, which we know it's coming. I mean, we pretty well plan on it now. We can control it now. We know how to after last year. The spray has really helped us out a bunch, because if not, we couldn't be farming. So here's another big pickle right there. Problem is they keep coming back every year. But as a whole, I think we look as good as what we did last year. The corn's gonna be 2-3 weeks ahead of schedule as of right now, since we had such a warm May. Crops look really, really good right now. It's all about being efficient. Applying too much nitrogen can hamper our yields. It's finding a balance of everything at the right time is way more efficient, which we've seen that on tissue samples the last several years, and we didn't believe it. You put down nitrogen, you think you're going to raise your tissue samples, but if your soil's healthy and you got good microbial activity, you know, your soil is going to produce X amount of nitrogen. We don't go by a standard rate anymore of how many pounds we got to put down. I don't do that anymore. So every field we go by what tissue samples say. You know, if they're in good shape, guess what? We don't apply near the amount of nitrogen anymore we used to. You know, I don't know anything better than pulling tissue samples than to actually see what's going on in the plant. Plant pulls up other nutrients. Why do we only put nitrogen out there? You know, I think that as a whole, that's the one thing that all us farmers can work on and be better at and be way more efficient and actually make more money. And that's what it's about, making money, being efficient. It's like us, human body. I mean, we just don't need protein. We need fat. We need carbs. Corn plant's no different. It don't need just one thing. So why do we go out and apply just one thing? It don't make much sense to me. I mean, they ain't near as bad as they used to, but I don't think you can actually eradicate them totally. So like I said, this should have been sprayed last week, but we were wet. And, well, one, it'll wash your chemical off. But two is that the ground gets soft and will either tear up the field or get hung up. So, you know, we used to always say to grow good corn, we had to plant early. Well, I don't know if that's the key anymore. I mean, we know even stand is the key, the biggest thing. If you don't have an even stand, it don't matter what kind of weather you have, you're going to be limited. Waiting a little bit longer, You know, we're not focusing on planting super early anymore like we used to be. You know, these hybrids have come a long way, and our farming practices have come a long way. The fertility programs, you know, get this corn up and going so much faster than what it used to, which is huge. If you want to grow good corn, like I said, it starts with a stand. It's all about being efficient. I think right now we're about as efficient as what we can be using the tools that we have right now. Mother Nature's got to cooperate. You know, if she don't flood us out and or we can keep our microbial activity, guess what? It's a lot easier to grow corn. So like I said, this corn should have been posted a week ago, but you know, what we call post-spray is spraying for the weeds and stuff. You know, by the time we was wanting to spray, that's when it started raining from Alberto. But as you can see, the terrain that we're in, it's kind of hard for us to do all that stuff that everybody else is trying. So the way we're set up, we got to try to be as efficient as we can. You know, we don't have big square flat fields where we can do the intercropping. Just like spraying this, you know, we're sliding all over the place. We're trying to do all that stuff that them guys are doing. Well, it's impossible here. Sprayer blight. We're pretty good at it. So what sprayer blight is when the sprayer dries over the corn, and you know, our point rows, angles of the field and the terrain, even with the four-wheel steer on the Haggy, you know, you still can't, you know, or at least I can't, you know, stop it. You know, I'm not saying we're driving down a bunch of corn, but Randy can talk shit all he wants, but I guarantee he don't deal with shit like this. There's that sprayer blight again. Little soft. You get used to it. I mean, you're in that tall machine on these hills, you get used to it sliding, but the most aggravating thing is knowing that you're sliding on some corn, you know, and ain't much you can do about it, but it's kind of fun, keep you awake a little bit, I guess.